Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog news items for the week and introduce you guys to some new prog singles to listen to and just give you updates on the channel and what's happening here on Nathan on Shuffle. It's October 11th, 2024. And there's some huge news items that I'm sure many of you are anticipating. Before I get to the big headline that is taking the prog world by storm, first, some new releases that came out this weekend that I want to point out. The first one is Joe Deninzon's Impostor. This is Joe Deninzon and Stratospheerius. Joe Deninzon plays with Kansas now with violin, and so he's a violin player, and this album is just a really cool mixture of modern symphonic prog, bit of that Kansas feel, some like Spock's Beardisms, and it's just a super fun, modern, fresh album that I recommend to lovers of modern progressive rock. So the Madrigal project came out this weekend, 11th Hour. This is more on the lines of kind of Gentle Giant-y style prog, some cool symphonic classic sounds as well, so that's well worth your time and attention if you like classic prog. And Oddleaf, their debut record where Ideal and Denial collide, came out this weekend. Go check out their Bandcamp page. This is a fantastic record. I'm going to talk about it in more depth this week, but has a bit of a folky flavor, a great blend of classic prog like Renaissance and Camel and Yes and all of that stuff, but also a blend of newer style prog rock like Big Big Train, bit of Wobbler. I feel some Agusa style vibes in some of the instrumental sections. Definitely a cool album to check out. But now let's get into the top 5 news items here. And first we've got Dream Theater, who announced their 16th studio album, Parasomnia, which is coming out February 7th next year. And, of course, released a new single, the first taste of what Dream Theater with Mike Portnoy back in the group sounds like. And the track is called Night Terror. It's almost 10 minutes long, I believe. It's a really expanded track. Showcases a lot of their musical virtuosity that you come to expect. Musical thrill ride is how they describe it in the press release. Just a really fantastic exploration of what the band's all about. I think it's excellent. I know there's a lot of different discourse online. I know some people weren't particularly impressed. Some people really love it. Some people, just love the comfort of having Mike Portnoy back and his energetic presence. So there's a lot of different thoughts about it from different corners of the internet, but predictably, I'm a big fan. I think it's an excellent single. I think, maybe it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's just classic Dream Theater sound, more in line with some of their recent albums and singles, but having that extra energy that I think the band seems more excited and pumped to have Mike Portnoy back, to have some energy and excitement for what's coming up on their new album. I think that adds another layer to the sound, and some of the instrumental stuff, especially in the second half of the song, is just absolute fireworks. It has a bit of that like Liquid Tension Experiment kind of energy to it, and I just think it's a really great expressive single and showcases what the band may have on offer on their full-length record, which looks to be something pretty interesting. A lot of lengthier tracks, a big near 20-minute epic at the end of the record. And this is all available out there to pre-order, of course, in many different formats. Big vinyl packages, box sets, art books, all the bells and whistles available for this one, with that artwork by Hugh Syme, which is beginning a little bit of a controversial. Some people have declared it a little bit too much AI art, perhaps, but really fun to have Dream Theater back in the mix, to have a new album to look forward to. They're doing all kinds of touring very soon, upcoming. I'm hopefully going to see them when they come to the U.S. next year. It'll be interesting to see if they play Night Terror on tour. I imagine they probably will, and if they incorporate some other newer tracks maybe down the line. Probably not initially before the album release, but once the album officially is out there, we'll see if they add more into their set. So just a lot of excitement around the Dream Theater camp. I love seeing Mike Portnoy back with the band and watching the music video and all of that. It was just really a pleasure. So really excited about that one. Neal Morse and the Resonance share a new single for their upcoming album. The single's called Thief, and of course the album is No Hill for a Climber, being released on Inside Out Records November 8th, 2024. A lot of people in comments have mentioned that, how have you not mentioned the new Neal Morse album yet? Which I did mention it, but maybe it got a bit buried in one of my previous New Music Weekly episodes back when their first single came out, All the Rage. I definitely mentioned it and put it in my prog singles list. But I'm super excited about this record. I'm a huge Neal Morse fanatic. I think the Resonance brings an interesting new vibe to him. He's bringing these younger, fresher Nashville musicians into the fold. A good placeholder in my mind until we can get the full, hopefully, Neal Morse band back at some point. But these guys are no slouches, and there's some interesting textures on the album that they bring forth. And this single showcases a bit of that. So I've heard the full album. I've gotten the promo to start preparing my review for it. And I'm just really blown away. This is exactly the Neal Morse style that I'm looking for. It has bookended epics at the beginning and end, some shorter tracks in the middle. This track in particular, Thief, is very unique. I actually think it's one of the highlights of the record. It's cool, has a bit of a hip-hop beat in parts. It has this cool, expressive Thief vocal-led section. Has some freak out instrumental sections as well. A little bit dark, a little bit creepier vibe. I think it's unique and interesting, but not too far removed from things you'd expect from Neal Morse and his sound, which I actually appreciate because I really love his core sound, and it brings a bit of a comfort factor to me to hear that Neal Morseism sound come through. So, and this is available out there, of course, for pre-order as well in all different formats: 2 CD digipack, gatefold 2 LP, digital album, standard jewel case edition. So definitely recommend that one to you guys to go pre-order, and of course check out these singles that are coming out. And soon, in about a month's time, the full album will be out there in all of its glory, and I'll be certainly talking about it. Item number 3, Ayreon announcing their 30th anniversary live dates for September 2025. So they're going to do a 30th anniversary run of 5 shows at Tilburg's O13 venue on September 12th, 13th, and 14th. Ayreon, of course, is the big expansive project from the mind of Arjen Lucassen, doing all kinds of great proggy concept albums, dipping toes into prog rock, but prog metal as well, kind of melding those styles into something really fun and expressive with a whole host and cavalry of different guest vocalists from across the metal and prog spectrum. So it's bound to be a big event. They don't really tour. Arjen Lucassen isn't really big into playing live all that often, but when they do these kind of big, expansive concert events, it's a big deal that's well worth checking out if you're a fan, to congregate into his hometown of sorts and be around fellow Ayreon fanatics. So it sounds like this show is just going to be celebrating their 30th anniversary, called An Amazing Flight Through Time. More of a bit of a greatest hits kind of style, just pulling some of the greatest songs from across the Ayreon discography. In years past, they've kind of focused on singular albums and doing a whole concept album all in one go, but it seems like this is just a big celebration and several different tracks from several different albums, a lot of classic Ayreon songs, stuff that they've never performed live, new stage design, special effects, the whole 9 yards there. So should be a lot of fun to attend if you're a big Ayreon fan like I am. Unfortunately, I don't have the funds to travel that far to be able to see this show, but for those who do, I think it's a well worth it from what I've heard about the experience. Number 4, Frost shares their heavy third single, Idiot Box, from their forthcoming concept album, Life in the Wires. I'm going to be reviewing this one this week. It comes out next Friday. A fantastic concept record, double concept record, just one of the best things that I've heard all year, and maybe the crowning achievement for Frost in their catalog. It harkens back to all of the greatest moments from across their catalog. It has a little bit of a Milliontown feel, but also elements of their latest album, Day and Age. Great concept running throughout the track list. Classic Frost lineup here. It's just a wonderful time and a fun smattering of great Frost material spanning a lot of different sounds and styles. This is a bit of a heavier track. The track featured here, Idiot Box. Fantastic track that I definitely recommend to you guys to check out. And there's a video accompanying it done by Christian Rios. So definitely well worth your time to check out, and that's a must listen for fans of the channel, fans of modern progressive rock. I think everyone's gonna fall in love with this record. At least I hope so. It's a bit dense and a lot to take in, so it might take a few listens to really digest it. But once you do, it's just fantastic and one of the high watermarks of newer progressive rock in my mind. And then on my last item here, O.R.k, or O.R.k, however you want to say it, returned with a powerful new single called Blast of Silence. This is a prog supergroup of sorts. Has a bit of more grungy 90s rock kind of feel to me, but a bit of that progressive metal influence. You've got ex-Porcupine Tree bassist Colin Edwin here, vocalist Leff, and King Crimson's Pat Mastelotto and Carmelo Pipitone. So you've got some interesting musicians here playing some really cool material, just a new album coming out next year, so this is a bit of a taster for it. And I just thought the track was pretty killer, so I wanted to add it onto my list for the week. And so that leads us to that prog singles list, as mentioned. The tracks which I've featured here in these news items, we've got Dream Theater's Night Terror, Neal Morse and the Resonance Thief, Frost Idiot Box, O.R.k's Blast of Silence, and finally to round out the top 5, I wanted to add in Oddleaf and their track Ethereal Melodies. This video's been out for about a month or so, so it's not really new, but the album just came out. I feel like they deserve much more exposure, and I think they're an incredible group, so hopefully you'll check them out and check out that video in the prog singles list. So fantastic stuff going on. Really excited about prog right now, and so many great releases to talk through. Almost an overwhelming amount that it's hard to get to everything, but I'm trying my best to feature what I think's the best of the best out in the prog sphere. This past week, me and Jana got together and did a reaction to Pain of Salvation, Beyond the Pale, a fantastic track. One of their classics from earlier in the 2000s from Remedy Lane. So go check that out. It was fun to see Jana's reaction to that, and I think she had some very insightful things to say about the song. So those are always a pleasure. I did a couple of reviews this week. Versa's new album, A Voyage to Destination Part 2. Wonderful, ethereal, post-rock combined with prog rock. If you love Neal Morse band stuff and Big Big Train mixed with maybe a bit more ambient soundscapes, a bit of a classical feel, very light and atmospheric, but has some prog power when it needs to have it during some bigger, more expanded pieces. It's an excellent record, definitely worth your time. In fact, I'm going to be talking a bit about it more, I believe, on Prog Corner's live stream this Sunday, so just a little bit of a teaser there. So it's a great record and definitely well worth your attention. Also talked about Kite Parade's Disparity, which I think is an excellent record, a 40-minute concept piece that is a bit in that poppier prog vein, like It Bites and Frost and those types of bands. But it's fantastically done, some really great sections, some great guest vocal spots. I really like that record, so check out my review for that. And I did a top 5 of the 5 albums that got me into progressive rock. I thought it would be fun to take a trip backwards into the albums that inspired me and have gotten me into this wonderful genre. So that's what I have for you guys. Those are some excellent videos. Go check those out. Stay around, subscribe, like the video, comment, do whatever you want to do. I appreciate the support, and I love being able to do these videos weekly for you guys. So hopefully this has been interesting, and hopefully you've got some interesting news items to go explore and check out. Like I say, check out that prog singles list. I have it in the description, so you can just click on the YouTube videos or on a playlist that collects them all in one space. So definitely well worth your time to listen to those. And just enjoy the music, everybody. There's so much greatness out there, almost overwhelming amounts. I can't get to it all, but I try to dip my toes into as much as I can to help you guys, to steer you towards the records that I think are well worth your time and attention. So thank you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in a future episode. Bye, everybody!